From Ada, Ohio, the broadcast of this match presented by Tourbeau Sports Group Productions, Innovative Sports Development. This game is a part of the 2013 National Game of the Week, brought to you by Tourbeau Sports, presented by the NSCAA and Admiral Sports. I'm Rob Greisinger, alongside Matt Digby. Got two top 10 teams about to take on each other from Ohio Northern Soccer Field. Ohio Northern hosting Ohio Wesleyan. 58 miles separate these two schools, and I would say that's just enough to call it a derby. A little bit further than normal, but close enough to call it that. Plus, two top 10 teams, both with undefeated records, Matt. What's the biggest key to this? What are you expecting to see here today?
Well, I think the big thing is establishing tempo, because both these teams have not only gone through this first part of the season undefeated, untied, they've also been able to score a lot of goals. So I think establishing their kind of tempo is going to be key. And also I think for the part of Ohio Northern, maybe a little bit of revenge. We go back to their meeting last year. Ohio Wesleyan won pretty handily 2-0 in Delaware. And then back in the 2011 tournament, Ohio Wesleyan had a 2-0 deficit, but then came back to win in regulation, knocked the Polar Bears out of the NCAA tournament. The Bishops themselves will go on to win the whole national championship in Division III in 2011.
Indeed, and as the final kicks, final warm-ups take place, go through the top 10. Of course, in 10th is Montclair State out of New Jersey. Then there's Ohio Northern. This is the NSCAA Continental Tire Poll, by the way. This is also got the 8th spot, Hope. 7th in Pacific Lutheran, Rutgers Cameron, 6th. 5th is Stevens Institute of Technology. Loras is in 4th, Amherst in 3rd. Ohio Wesleyan is in 2nd in the poll, and coming out at number 1 is Messiah, even though they have one less game played and win than Ohio Wesleyan. Taking a look there's Brent Ridenauer. He's counting his men up, doing their last little sprints before getting ready for this, what is a crucial game for them. They've been dropping in the standings pretty much, well, they've been hovering around the top 10. Well, that's more fair to say. But the last 2 weeks has not been fair to them. They've dropped from 4th to 9th. They were in 8th last week, 9th this week in the 3rd week of the season. Coming in the preseason, they were ranked 5th. Compared to Ohio Wesleyan, they were 21st in the preseason poll, and they made a big jump in the first week up to 10th. Then we're 6th. Now they're in the 2 spot. Not to mention they also were knocked out of last year's NCAA tournament in the first round. So they're going to look to redeem themselves, looking to get another national championship under their belt. They do have the winningest coach in Division III soccer in Dr. J. Martin. And also like to take this time to remind you about, give me 1 second here. I'd like to remind you also that the broadcast of this match is brought to you by Tourbeau Sports Productions, Innovative Sports Development. This game is a part of the 2013 Tourbeau National Game of the Week series. Also need to remind you about the 3rd annual Tourbeau Pro Soccer Combine this December in Charleston, South Carolina. Teams from all the way down to NAIA, all the way to Division I, going to be scouting players in a search for new talent and their hopes for championships in each division, from Division III to 1, also NAIA. Even the NPSL going to be sending some scouts there for that scouting combine. Coin toss taking place right now at what would be the 4th official's spot. There is no 4th official. We do have 3, though, today. We'll have 2 linesmen and the man in the middle. So teams will huddle up and get their last little bit of instructions before taking to the pitch. And the battle begins of 2 top 10 teams here in Western Ohio. Ohio Northern Soccer Field's the site here on NSCAA.com and Tourbeau Sports Group. I'm Rob Greisinger alongside Matt Digby. We'll step aside for a second and come back in a second with the kickoff and starting 11s for both sides.
The Ohio Wesleyan campus is a historic jewel located adjacent to the Olentangy River in the town of Delaware, 15 minutes north of Columbus, Ohio. The historic campus includes 5 19th century buildings and 7 buildings more than 100 years old, where for more than 170 years students have had access to the very finest of a liberal arts education. Ohio Wesleyan University embraces the model of Division III and of the student athlete.
Tra la la, tra la, tra la.
This match is being brought to you by Tourbeau Sports Group Productions, Innovative Sports Development. This game is a part of the 2013 Tourbeau National Game of the Week Series, presented by the NSCAA and Admiral Sports. Starting 11s, first for Ohio Northern. In goal, Evan Bader, the goalkeeper, played every minute for Ohio Northern this year. Going with the back line, starting with the right back, Chuck D'Imperio. The center has Mike Grossnickel and Aaron Smith. Matt Fleming will be the left back. In the midfield, Matt Kinkoff, player of the week in the OAC, going to be on the right flank. Austin Horton back into the middle of the park. Got Stephen Perkins as well. Shintaro Ito will round it out with Zach Myers on the opposite flank and Jeremy Barnes up top for Ohio Northern. For Wesleyan, it's going to be Colin B. Miller in goal. Going to get another start. Right back is Peter Jacoby. Drew Pang and Jacob Eganhouse are the center halves, and Alex Stanton is the left back. Got Martin Tobias on the holding midfielder, the two outside flankers. You've got Matt Shadone and Paolo Bucci, along with Ian O'Keefe, the center attacking midfielder, with the two strikers who lead the team in goals, Taylor Rieger and John Stegner. National anthem underway from ONU Soccer Field. Last minute preparations being taken by the referee and the assistant or linesman, some call him. And the man in the middle will be Mike Sokolik. Also, one of the assistants is Rusmir Bilek and Pierre Francilion those are the two linesmen today. Both teams have taken the pitch after playing of the national anthem, and just seconds away from beginning what should be a pretty decent match. Got crowds filing in from both sides, trying to find a good seat. There really isn't a bad one here at ONU. Kick's going to be taken by Wesleyan. They'll attack the goal to our right, while the hosts in white and orange, they will attack the goal to the left.
And if you're Ohio Northern, you're really going to be paying attention to that right side of the field where you have Chuck D'Imperio on the back line. He leads the team with 5 assists, and the lone forward, Jeremy Barnes, is second on team with 4 assists. They'll be looking to be the providers to Matt Kinkoff, that right midfielder who leads the team with 4 goals on the season.
Well, we'll see who presses early. Number 2 and number 9 taking on each other, and it's given up right away by Wesleyan on this grass surface. Did walk it a little earlier, and it does have divots in it, so an odd bounce could play a factor here today, but well, in the opening 30 seconds, it's just a matter of feeling each other out. It's lofted into touch right over the quick goal bleachers. Those covers act as sunglasses. And they're very common in soccer, very popular. Played all the way back now to the goalkeeper. Bader for Northern. Picked up at the back and takes a weird carom off of Eganhouse's right foot. So we'll go out into touch right in front of the Wesleyan bench. And the Bishops will watch a throw-in from their opponents come in, and nothing is made of it. It's away up in the air. Chested down by Rieger. 3 men go up for the head. Looked like Ian O'Keefe got an elbow in on there. Ito took the brunt of that one, but everybody okay. Referee says play on after a rough challenge in there in the middle of the park. Now it's back into the middle and a throw in for Northern. 2 minutes in. Back and forth it goes. 50-50 balls are going to be a key today. Tripping over the ball there is Zach Myers. And unfortunately for him, he commits a foul at the same time.
Yeah, Martin Tobias in the middle of the field taking the brunt of that foul, but here's a good chance for Ohio Wesleyan to establish some pressure. See how Eganhouse places this.
He lofted in the air, knocked it down off the head of the defender. Gross-Nickel with his first touches in the air. Ends up going out off of one of the Bishops. Chested down again, and Eganhouse been busy so far, the center half. Drew Pang, first touch on the ball with his right foot in the center circle. Back towards the middle, and Ito right there to take it away. He'll loft it up, nobody running there, though. Eganhouse will head it back to his goalkeeper, and the B. Miller with his first touch off the header. That is legal for the goalkeeper to play it off the header. If it was the foot, he would have to play it with his feet. Settled now. Perkins to Kinkoff, now far side, trying to make a run. Tackle now at the top of the 18, trying to turn and make a through ball attempt right in for Austin Horton. Is tackled away, and the Bishop's going to try to mount something here as the high line already being put on by the Polar Bears of Ohio Northern. Lofted ball far side, and it's got a little too much juice on it.
And you could say we kind of expected Ohio Northern to come out the team wanting to get the first punch, especially after the fact that Ohio Wesleyan has won the last 5 meetings between these two teams. We definitely expect the Polar Bears to be the hungrier of the two teams, especially since we're playing in Ada.
Well, so sometimes that's all it takes, really. The hungrier the two sides is going to take it. Of course, the defending runners-up were the Polar Bears. I mentioned at the top of the show that Wesleyan was knocked out in the first round. That's very uncommon for their program, given its history. But the Polar Bears trying to look for their first win in 5 fixtures against the Bishops. Chested down, almost looked like a handball from here. Not quite, though. Off the chest, sometimes looks can be deceiving. Again, it's given away, but given right back away again. Both sides trading the ball right now. Myers with his back to goal against Stanton. Some close combat here. Matt Fleming, 1v1 with Bucci. Far side now trying to turn and take it to the byline. Kinkoff. It's on a 3-game scoring streak. Doesn't get it by the right back Stanton for Wesleyan. Now throwing will be taken on the near side. Myers going to throw in. Towed down by Kinkoff. Now Fleming getting pushed by Bucci. Now he's just going to play it all the way back, trying to mount the attack from the start in the run of play. Mueller tangled up there. Was Perkins still able to come away with the ball, and referee waited a second, played perhaps an advantage, seeing what would happen, decides to call the foul a little late, but that's what you'd want from a referee. That's good refereeing right there. To let the play on and see what happens. If nothing amounts to the play that really would act as the free kick, goes out, so he'll award the actual free kick. Taken by Chuck D'Imperio. It's going to be a long ball played in, looking for Austin Horton or Zach Myers, but B. Miller on top of that one at the top of his 6. Collects it without a rebound. 6 minutes in.
And Ohio Northern continuing to build the pressure. Ohio Wesleyan not able to return the favor so far, but here we see Bucci feeding a long ball. Will this help?
Long ball looking for John Stegner, and it's out. That's good defending. Regroup right there. Mueller played it out. Lofted ball into the middle. Knocked down by Martin Tobias, his first touch. Bucci cuts back inside, looking for a runner on the overlap. 1-2 now from Shadone. Bucci making a run in the box. Takes a shot with his left foot. The edge of the 6, it's clipped out. Thought that might have been a corner. Looked like it had gone off the toe of one of the Polar Bears, but apparently it had already crossed the byline, so it will be a goal kick. First one. As the first shot is way off the mark.
Well, Bucci is coming off a solid effort in the Battling Bishops last game, a 2-1 win over Barry, Georgia. He scored the game-tying goal in the 52nd minute, so he'll be definitely eager to perhaps start a goal-scoring streak here against the Polar Bears.
Throw in far side. It's ended up knocked down, out of touch. That was for Kinkoff. Now the throw in back in. It's D'Imperio with it. Lofted ball for the left back for Fleming. But Bucci ends up getting it off of a touch, and it goes into touch. Battling at the corner there, Zito. And that one lofted up. Close, but no cigar for the Polar Bears. So that'll be a goal kick now for the opponent, and Colin B. Miller with his first goal kick of the match. Entering the 9th minute. Clock counts down in NSCAA sanctioned matches. Clock does stop as well. It's not counted up and stoppage time added on like you'd see in FIFA sanctioned games. Some argue it should be changed to that. Make the timing system more universal, but sort of a throwback to the NASL days back in the 70s, but regardless of that, still good competition in college soccer, and you got one right here. Even in Division III, some might look down upon the lower levels, but sometimes the best competition is down here where you get even matchups like this one. Far side now. Jacoby. Bounces in there. Now Ian O'Keefe tries the right flank again for Bucci, trying to dart inside again. Lofts one in there, trying to find a runner. Nobody ended up going. Shadone was heading the opposite direction of where Bucci wanted him to. That's an easy collection for Bader. He'll punt it up.
No, I think it's just a miscommunication because I think Shadone could have easily made that run if he wanted to. He would have definitely put Bader under pressure.
Perkins looking for open space. It closed up right away. Had to play it back to Fleming. Now back into the middle. Nick Myers can't handle it after it goes off of Bucci again. It's early, but Bucci seems to have given up a lot of those, given the ball away right at the touchline, and has given up a throw to the opponent. Now Myers cutting inside, trying to get Jeremy Barnes on an overlapping run, who's yet to touch the ball. Horton, starting to the touchline, ends up handing it off to Fleming. Kinkoff now lifted, chipped through ball, looking for Zach Myers. Well played by Eganhouse. Good defending. They're still on the byline battling. He's going to have to give Eganhouse some room. He does, and finally he'll get it up, but it's a grounder, and it's going to go right back to Fleming. And they'll play at the back again. Grossnickel. Perkins now, poorly played ball. Mueller has to go chasing after it on the far side. And the two attackers up top in the 4-4-2 for the Bishops. Right now they're keeping a high line and going to push the back four for the Polar Bears back towards their own 18-yard box. That's good play. Keep the pressure on, no space for the Polar Bears to just play around there and sit back like a quarterback in the pocket. If you want to make the football-to-football cross analogy there. Here's Myers cutting in, and it's well defended and away by Stanton. Now it'll be the Bishops with a chance to counter. Far side, Jacoby, lofted long ball. Flag stays down. And Shadone comes up with it. 3 men in there for the Polar Bears, and eventually a loose ball there. Cleared out by Ito. One of the midfielders having to come out and defend. Here in the 12th minute in Ada, Ohio, on the west side of Ohio. And these two schools are separated by not much, enough to consider it a derby, as some call it, even though it's spelled with an E. Throw in near side for the Bishops, now at the corner. Myers battling there, and somehow the ball stays in. Perkins on the end of that one. It's given away. Bucci again. Nutmegs. Myers. Grounding cross comes in, and it's right at Fleming. And it'll be cleared away. Now Kinkoff, he can make things happen with his feet, and there's a left-footed lofter. Jacoby's running after it. Barnes is going after it as well. Jacoby gets there first. The ball stays in. Far side now. Can the counterattack work? More defensive reinforcements are coming in. Well, it seems that the Polar Bears are going to sit back for now. Stegner now. It's given away again. And that ball's kept in. Trying to try a through ball. Stanton again throwing it all the way down there towards the two men who are still putting high pressure on the back four, but doesn't quite work. Ito back passes in front of his own 18. Perkins. Myers working through traffic well, able to use sort of his shoulder blade there, in front of it anyway, to control that. Now Kinkoff battling 1v1. Now two guys go down. Referee keeps the whistle. Put it to his mouth to thought better of it. Now there's going to be a foul against Kinkoff. Led with the elbow. That is a clear foul against Kinkoff. Against Stanton. Was frustrated that he didn't get a foul called. Would have been a dangerous free kick right at the top of the 18.
Yeah, there definitely was contact between Kinkoff and Jacob Eganhouse, but that last push on the final Bishop defender, that's going to be a foul every time.
You like that no call there, Matt?
I can see why this particular ref didn't give it. I mean, it's one of those 50-50 calls. Half the refs will give a free kick, half of them won't.
I think the argument would be both guys were going for the ball, and both just collided, really. You can understand Kinkoff's frustration. He's trying to keep his 3-game scoring streak alive. Now at the top of the 18, twisting around. Here's Myers. Turns, top of the 18, twists, takes a shot right at the keeper. And B. Miller knocks it down, no rebound. First shot on target is the first save of the game. Wasn't a particularly hard either. Back pass, now he's going to sky it up there, B. Miller does. Going to be a battle of heads. Tobias got a flick on that one. Stagner, middle, at the halfway line. Gonna drop it off for O'Keefe. Trying to make a run now. Tobias going to try to loft one up there. Here's Rieger. Back to goal. Has 3 men. One decides to drop off from him. Now ahead to Shadone with the left foot, trying a cross and using the body well to defend. Fleming steps in front of his man and is able to get it out of there for a corner.
Yeah, good defense from the Polar Bears after we see the Bishops go forward for really only the first or second time this match. But a good cross, but easy defending, able to get to that ball before the forward is able to head it in for a potential goal.
16th minute. And the left-footed corner comes in, flicked on in the back, trying a turnaround volley, and it'll loft over the cross-country team that is going to have their run interrupted. At least one person is to give the ball back. That will certainly take some precious seconds off their practice run.
Yeah, that was Drew Pang who got that kick that, with a little more control, obviously would have been a handful for Bader to put up with. But thankfully for Bader and the rest of the Polar Bears, just goes over the bar.
Could tell he was thinking bite kick, but he just didn't time it right. So there's a battle on the far side. Off at Jacoby. Barnes trying to cross one in there, knocked off the toe. So far side throw incoming. A lot of close-knit quarters here are going. This pitch does look a little narrower than some, but it really deceives the eye. It's as wide as any other FIFA-sanctioned field. Natural grass. Far side, Barnes with it. Rolls it for Ito. Battling with Tobias, who's also got a brother on the team. 2 sets of brothers on this Bishop team. Of course, the Blocher brothers, excuse me. And the Tobias is Nick also on the team, as well as Martin. Horton gives it up in the middle of the park. Bad pass. Bucci right there. He'll just quickly tap it to O'Keefe. Has his head up trying to get some space open. Stanton, fullback, trying to get into the attack. Long ball there over for Rieger. Rieger turns his back to goal. Heads back into the middle third. Now back to Bucci. He's going to dart inside again. Stanton is back to goal, and that pressure again from the Polar Bears is going to have to force the pull out and go back up the field. Here's Bucci trying to dribble his way through. Tries a shot, and it's deflected. And then Chuck D'Imperio ends up getting the loose spinning ball. It looked like a spinning quarter, just tapped it out for a Bishop throw for Ohio Wesleyan. Going for win number 8, excuse me. 7th win is the goal for Ohio Northern. Both teams, last match was against Barry, Georgia. Both teams defeated them, giving up a goal each. However, Northern, as they clear one out, scored one more than their counterpart here today. Now they'll try to beat each other. Through ball, nobody making a run for Wesleyan, so it'll be collected by Bader. 19 minutes in. They'll lay it on the ground. Play a long ball up. Matt, what do you think so far? Is the space as confined as it looks?
A little bit, and I'm definitely seeing the physicality that we were talking about at the top of our broadcast. Definitely the fact that this distance, 58 miles, only separating the two schools. I mean, you definitely have a decent amount of fans from both sides, and they are getting vocal at a couple foul or no foul calls by the referee. But good build-up. I'd say advantage Ohio Northern right now, just based on the fact that they've generated more opportunities. Like we said, they're generally just hungrier to end this losing streak to the Bishops.
Keep their undefeated season alive, and it would certainly help them out in the rankings. And they have the ball right now, but a poor ball up forward. by the defender, D'Imperio, the right back. It's rather hopeful. Had it cleared away, and that was also just a clearing attempt. So right now it's just back and forth, playing some volleyball right now.
Again, both these teams have good memories of heading to San Antonio in previous Decembers. Ohio Wesleyan back in 2011 when they won the Division III National Championship, and Ohio Northern last year, although they didn't have as great memories of San Antonio as Ohio Wesleyan did, because the Polar Bears did lose the championship match 5-1 to Messiah. But obviously, both these teams do have a very good chance to get back to San Antonio.
Free kick comes in after a foul, and it couldn't find a head of a polar bear. I think it would be easier with, they were actually real polar bears if you had the video game and the polar bear heads on the cheat code. Easy to pick out the white head, but not going to get that here. It's a lot warmer than polar bear weather. At least real polar bears anyway. Play's been pretty clean thus far. Last foul just occurring, but has been physical but clean. No brash challenges yet. At least here in the first 20 minutes. Stagner trying to find a running Bucci. Only played it in between Rieger and Bucci, but it's cleared away. O'Keefe darting in near side touchline right in front of the polar bear bench. Lofts one in there, putting on the pressure, turning on the Jets was Stagner. Couldn't get there in time. It was played away by Grossnickel. Myers back inside, has a man on his back. Has to turn his side up the pitch. Finds Myers again. Left flank near side. Dribbling around, looking for a runner. Has Barnes darting to the middle. Through ball. He's offside by half a step. Flag went up instantly. Looked closer than it was, but really, when you got your foot out that far, pretty easy call.
Yeah, I don't think you see Barnes complaining a whole lot. But going back to just a couple seconds prior to that, where the Bishops were on the break, a dangerous pass back into the middle of the field by a polar bear defender, and it was thanks to Shintaro Ito that the ball was able to be cleared out of danger. Can't really afford too many of those kind of risky plays if you want to set up a recipe for a win.
On the early going, it looks like a mistake is what's going to decide who scores first. There's always that possibility of a goalless draw, though, as Bucci gives up another one. Really having a poor effort on the touch lines anyway. He's been darting inside a lot, but hasn't been able to keep the ball when he's right on the line. Here's Kinkoff, shoved off of the ball by Eganhouse. But again, the clearance taken, and there's a trip up. Ooh. Doesn't look like a pull down. No calls again. Some appeals for fouls. At least that's only coming from the crowd, really, as a mass of subs are about to enter on the next stoppage for Wesleyan. But they got in the middle of the park right now, and a through ball. That one had Stagner going the other way. Now it's Austin Horton for Northern. Ito from Tokyo, coming to school in the U.S. Kinkoff chests it down in front of the touchline. Throw, and that did touch Kinkoff at the last second, unnoticed by the referee, so the subs don't come in. And a chance for a quick little attack here for the Polar Bears. Far side, D'Imperio looking, trying to step over. Now he's going to battle with Jacoby. He's going to shield him from the ball, and just gliding along the top of the grass, and then it'll finally go over the byline. And that'll allow the subs to come in. Both teams going to make 3 changes each.
Colton Bloker, Evan Lee, and Brian Schaefer coming in for the Bishops. And then the 3 Polar Bears new to the action are Dustin Lorenzo, Ryan Prescott, and David Janis.
Well, change is made. That's another different thing from NSCAA sanctioned to FIFA. Substitutions are unlimited in the second half. You're allowed a re-entry in the first half, but just one. Little shove off there by Austin Horton. A delayed foul there called, and Tobias draws the call. Polar Bears don't like it, but they don't have a choice. And going up in the air diagonally for it, and Brian Schaefer unable to get a touch on the ball. So his first action is a foul against him. 26 minutes in. Hasn't been too many chances, though, Matt.
Well, the game is still relatively young. I mean, we're already more than halfway through the first half. But, again, Ohio Northern, it's about patience and wanting to establish their kind of tempo. As you see, great turn there by David Janis to win the ball cleanly.
He got his man to fall. Here's the cross in, and it's a weak little grounder. Just hugging the byline. Easy little collection for B. Miller, who had to hug the post. Would have been interesting to see what would have happened had there been a polar bear right in front of that ball.
Yeah, that frankly wasn't the best cross. Could have been a lot better from Janis, especially with a couple men in the box waiting to receive it.
Now in the middle, Evan Lee with his first touch. Had it blocked, now it ends up at the feet of Ryan Prescott, his first touch, and it's stripped away from him by Bucci. Pang at the end of it. Middle of the park in the center circle, cross halves. Still in the middle third, though. Stanton with it. A little dummy run done there by Evan Lee. Far side flank, Jacoby. There's some good soccer right there. Good 1-2 passing now inside for Lee, and stepping in front of him was Grossnickel. Still bouncing around, and a clearing attempt off the, might have been the face. Hard to tell exactly. Colton Blocher. But regardless, it comes to Evan Bader, and he'll punt it up high off the head of Martin Tobias. Stanton now picks it up at the feet. Now it seems that Wesleyan is getting their share of possession. Pretty even thus far. Now middle of the park, going to have a long go and completely missing the ball, but no foul call. Dustin Lorenzo. At least from here it didn't look like. From our angle, didn't look like he got anything on the ball, but referee doesn't call the foul. Now here's Kinkoff coming along. Takes it to the byline, plays a pass in, off the foot. Oh, man, and Prescott just tripped over himself right there. Just about to tee one up, and he lost his footing.
And give the credit to Jacob Eganhouse, because when Janis crossed that ball in, it was Eganhouse who got the touch right as the forward was about to strike for Ohio Northern, and that could have been a real chance. But so credit to the Ohio Wesleyan captain for getting that final touch. Otherwise, the Bishops could easily find themselves down 1-0.
Instead, it's just a goal kick. Almost a half an hour into this game, and only seen one real chance. Now another mass substitution for the Polar Bears. Will be a free kick. Don't expect to see them come in just yet. That's the one exception. They can't just come in after a stoppage. Free kicks, they're not allowed to come in until throw-in. It will be taken by Chase Mueller, who will launch one up forward. About 40 yards from the goal, just outside the center circle. Loft one softly. Looking for Austin Horton in the box. Instead, he finds the opposite 11. Martin Tobias. So more changes. Tommy Troy coming in, as well as Daniel Colvin and Chad Smith.
They're making way for Stephen Perkins, Matt Kinkoff, and Chuck D'Imperio.
Probably won't see those guys at least until after halftime. This is the beauty of the college rules. You can rest guys. Back into the middle, right at the edge of the box. Going to try a left-footed cross, and Chino to right. Not quite there. Check that. That was Austin Horton. Now the Bishops try to mount an attack. It's given up right in their middle third in their own half. Going up for a header, winning it is Prescott. Nobody there to receive the end of it, though. At least not wearing a white shirt. Ooh, an almost deadly collision there. Would have been two heads. Tommy Troy and Tobias, they might have clipped each other, and Tobias looked shaking up there for a minute, but regardless of that, Bloker gives it away.
Yeah, Tobias able to stay on his feet. As good positioning here from Ryan Prescott, but quickly losing the ball. That could be fatal to Alex Stanton.
But a good block by Fleming. Kicks it out, and that'll make way for more changes as Bucci's had a terrible time on the touchline. Might just be getting worse for him as he's giving way for the bench. However, he can be that game changer, that playmaker that you would want out there as a winger.
Yeah, Bucci and Shadone, two seniors, making way for Ricardo Balmaceda and Gunnar Bloker.
From the volley, here comes a through ball, and it's right in front of a defender and able to play it out. Still another through ball. That's cleared away. Prescott trying a through ball, trying to find Colvin on a run, and it ends up at the feet of a defender, Drew Pang. Center half going to link up with Jacoby. He'll link one up there, trying to find Schaefer. Again, at back 4 for the Polar Bears of Ohio Northern. They're been doing a good job of quelling the runs of these Ohio Wesleyan Bishops. Far side, Colvin trying to find space, looking for reinforcements. Ends up playing it back to his fullback. Now back inside. Chad Smith's first touch is a pass up for Prescott. And Prescott's big body ended up knocking Martin Tobias over. And that's a foul.
Yeah, Tobias seeing a lot of action both with the ball and even without the ball, just physically, because he's right in the middle of midfield. But he's done very well to hold up so far.
That's what you get as a defensive midfielder. You're going to take a brunt of the blows of midfielders darting in to try to link up with their strikers. There's a long ball played forward. Prescott trying to get on the end of that one, but confidently defended by Stanton, and he'll try to quickly counter. Tries a long ball off the boot of Schaefer in the air. And there's a foul. Who is that? Colvin? He got his foot stepped on. And that hurts.
Good to see he's up walking under his own power less than 15 seconds later. But, yeah, those kinds of injuries, they can hurt.
Oh, they do sting. I mean, critics will tell you that that's a flop. Well, I'd like to see one of them get a nice piece of metal right in the shin and see how they feel about it. Long ball lofted in from the halfway line. Really nothing there as three guys go up for a header and unable to corral it and trap it at the feet. Was Balmaceda for the Bishops. Got another change waiting to come on. Lonnie Barnes. Prescott back to goal, turns back inside for Colvin. Colvin surveys, going to try to curl one in there, but he got it curl in the opposite direction, away from goal. It'll be a goal kick. And Lonnie Barnes will come in for Wesleyan. Will make way for Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias has done very well these first 30, 35 minutes as a defensive midfielder, able to help prevent some of the more serious chances from Ohio Northern. And now it's going to be up to the sophomore from Champaign, Illinois, Lonnie Barnes, to see if he can help the Bishop defense hold out until halftime.
10 minutes from it, just over that anyway. Twisting volley now, going up to head. Really didn't need the head, though. Schaefer back inside. That was Evan Lee, top of the 18, in front of the penalty arc, and nobody able to get there for Wesleyan. Middle of the park, and two guys just stumble together, and it's going to be called against Colton Blocher. Nothing he could really do there. You got all that top heavy weight coming down on you. If you can control that, good luck. Gets a laugh, though, from the referee anyway as the whistle goes up to his mouth. Again, middle third been pretty active between these two sides. Might need new sod after this. Balmaceda inside for Blocher. To his brother Gunnar Blocher.
Well, this will be Ohio Northern's last home game until October 9th, so plenty of time to get that sod.
Oh, yeah, definitely going to. At least for the men's team. The women's team might have something to say about that. Fleming trying to launch one forward, trying to find the top of the cranium of Colvin. He tried to flick it on. Instead, it ended up at the feet of Drew Pang. He just let his keeper come out and play it. Stanton has been busy on the right flank as the fullback. Usually that's what you see.
As Ohio Northern gets a throw in here, it's going to be Aaron Smith coming in as a late substitution. He will be occupying the left back role for the final 9 minutes.
Coming in for Grossnickel. Colvin plays one off the foot of Gunnar Blocher. Fleming gonna try to find Prescott in the corner. He does. He's going to start heading towards the box, going 1v1 with Stanton. Stanton gets a tackle in there and clears it away, curls that ball all the way up. And there's a push. I don't know how the referee's assistant didn't call foul on that. Had arms extended. And there's a great twisting challenge by Aaron Smith. It's actually going to look pretty good as a long ball played forward and keeping his composure there. Defender for. Turn yourself there, Drew Pang, so I can see your number and award you for your effort. That'd be a tough play. Oh, man. That looked like a shove from Aaron Smith. Neither has two guys going in there. Evan Lee looked like he got together with Aaron Smith and the goalkeeper. Bader came out, got it. As all the action was behind him, he ended up tapping the man who was trying to score on him for the courage he had going in there. There's a flick on, and says it goes to Wesleyan. I could see it, could hear it from here that it should be going the other way, but maybe it was already out. Definitely went off a Wesleyan shin. And Wesleyan's going to throw in.
As their new sub taking a throw in, Mason Hoagie, a junior from Mason, Ohio. How about that? Mason from Mason.
Don't see that every day. And there's, well, hard to tell if there was actually a clip there or not, but regardless, Colvin goes down, doesn't like the no call, but I hate to say it, but I think he clicked his heels. Hard to tell exactly there, but it's no call regardless. Hard for the referee to call that, though. It was just way too close. Ends up going over the byline goal kick. I haven't seen that stupid foul in front of the 18-yard box that sets up a dangerous free kick yet. But it only takes one time for one player to. In a game like this that's back and forth, just takes one little miscue, one stop of the brain working. Gunnar Blocher loses it to Fleming, who lofted forward as we are 6 minutes from halftime. Gunnar Blocher trying to go 1v1 with Fleming and ends up getting away from him, and then there's a foul committed by Wesleyan.
Yeah, that was
Justin Lorenzo sets up the ball. Go ahead, Matt.
That was a clear foul from Mason Hoagie, getting under the legs, easily making contact. And now, can Ohio Northern take advantage of this?
And all the free kicks have been in the middle third. They've been very close to the center circle. This one no different. Taken by Mueller. Long ball forward. Going to try to pick somebody out. Gets ahead of a teammate. And the header's too high over the bar for a goal kick again. B. Miller jumping up just as an insurance policy, doesn't get a finger on it, so it'll be a goal kick. Now don't forget, you can follow Tourbeau Sports on Twitter at Tourbeau Sports. Stay up to date with everything soccer and more on TSG's social media handle for information regarding live games, events, and more. Goalless here at ONU Soccer Field in Ada, Ohio. It's a little derby here on the west end of Ohio. Just 5 minutes from halftime. Foul against Wesleyan. Again, another free kick in the middle third of the pitch. Aaron Smith going to launch one forward and again going to try to find ahead of a teammate. But Wesleyan typically, they've just got that little extra inch of height and match up very well, so it's going to be a little more difficult for the Polar Bears to get on the end of a high cross. And you saw it right there, why. Now it's lofted up. And winning the header is Gunnar Blocher. Got his brother on the pitch, wearing number 10, Colton. And he has it right now in the middle. Past the kickoff spot in the center circle, running. Finds Schaefer as an overlapping run, and it's cleared away. Away by Mueller, who's been busy as well. Here comes a shot. That's got a lot of bend on it. It was fluttering in the air, but it was just too high.
And Austin Horton, I can guarantee right now, is breathing a huge sigh of relief because it was his little stumble that gave up the possession of Blocher that allowed the Battle of Bishops to get on that fast break. But as soon as Schaefer's shot went flying over the crossbar, I guarantee you Horton is the most relieved man in the field.
Well, 3.5 minutes from halftime. Another goal kick from Bader. Able to get it across the halfway line, chested down and turning to his left with it. Prescott trying to find Colvin. And once again, we see confident and brilliant defending by Eganhouse. Lorenzo trying to get started. He'll have to go all the way back to Fleming, who will link up with Smith. And now it's tipped away. Here comes Evan Lee, going to try to make a run, but coming out alertly is Bader, and he'll just collect and roll it for Smith. Touched along softly along the grass. Lorenzo, middle of the park, trying to open up some space, which has been a rarity today. Positioning himself for the chest down was Jacoby. Looked like it could have been a handball if he didn't separate his hands quickly enough. Some of the fans calling for a handball, but he didn't handle it, so no call. Here goes Colton Blucher to the ground, and with plenty of time and space is Smith. Here's Tommy Troy. He's occupied the middle of the field on the left side. He's waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Has to play it back to his left back, Fleming. Fleming stopping it, turning. Dealing with Connor Blocher on him. Tackles it away from him, and now two guys go together. Colvin and Schaefer, and well, the feet tangled just too much as we are now under 2 minutes from halftime. Long ball for Gunnar Blocher. 1v1 with Smith, looks up, trying to find some space. Collides with Smith, he goes down, no call. Shot on, and still having it though is Wesleyan. Blocher almost overran it. Schaefer with his head up with his left foot tries a through ball for Lee, cleared out and away by Mueller. Mueller, the one player who's been out there with the exception of the two goalkeepers the whole time. Of course, there are several others, but he's been the most noticeable. Fleming also the other one off the end of that one. Couldn't volley that one out of there at the penalty arc. Lee. Colton Blocher turns with his left foot, through ball. Stepping in front of the runner was Fleming, trying to stop Schaefer on a run. Now Schaefer gets another one. Under a minute now as Gunnar Blocher gets a touch. 1v1, tries to nutmeg, and two guys collide, and, well, I'm not sure there. That was good defending. Trying to get that shoulder up and over the head of his man. Fleming stood his ground, though, and Blocher had to nowhere to go except to the deck. Expecting a foul, would have been a PK. but under a minute. No call, and we will have another goal kick with under 30 to go here in the first half. As things pick up before halftime, neither side wanting to go into the half tied, scoreless, but it looks like they won't have much choice there as it's settled. One last play up forward for Northern, and it's just skied. I'm going to see some snow on that one if it doesn't come down soon, but it does. Off the head of the bald-headed Smith, collected by Bader as the clock hits 0. We're scoreless, evenly matched chances, just not the quality chance there, Matt.
Absolutely, but I think it's been a game of, you could kind of split the first half into two halves because Ohio Northern came out the stronger of the two teams, but then you saw Ohio Wesleyan come right back. The one chance, because of the trip and the stumble by Austin Horton, that allowed Brian Schaefer to get the chance that maybe he could have afforded to take another touch, get a cleaner shot that really would have given Bader some trouble. But overall, good, clean first half of soccer.
Yeah, nothing too brash, no rough challenges, nothing. Fouls pretty much even, possession even. There's one offside. I mean, it was very competitive, pretty clean. And, well, doesn't have that derby rivalry ready to fight, want to punch you in the mouth kind of feeling, but it's that clean play that you want to see.
Well, it's one of those feelings that's still early in the season. This is a non-conference matchup, so obviously both teams are still figuring out exactly how they want to play for the rest of the season, how they want to go into conference play. But this is a great test between two top 10 teams.
Well, that's the half. Both teams will rehydrate, rework their tactics a little bit. Maybe the two managers have seen something that, well, players just couldn't have known unless they huddled together. As everyone's going to head for a soft drink or a snack, we will too, and we might even get a word in with Ohio Northern Athletic Director Tom Simmons during the half, and we'll be back afterwards.
My name's Colton Blecker, and I play men's soccer at Ohio Wesleyan University for Coach Jay Martin, and I am a finance and creative writing double major.
Culture of champions means that you do the little things right. So on the field here at Roy Reich, we're setting up the goals, we're taking them down, we're setting up the nets, doing everything. In the classroom, you're meeting with teachers, you're studying, you're getting your work done, and it's all about those little things that end up accumulating so you can be successful on and off the field.
Each year, the NSCAA puts over 7,000 coaches through our coaching education program. Youth, high school, and college coaches at all levels participate in the diploma courses. Join your peers and get educated. Better coaching, better players, better game. NSCAA Coaching Academy. Improving soccer, one coach at a time. Register today at nscaa.com/education.
Back with you here at ONU at the Ohio Northern Soccer Field in Ada, Ohio. I'm joined by the athletic director, Tom Simmons, of the Ohio Northern University. That's a mouthful when you're trying to think about it. Tom, glad to have you here. What do you think so far, what you've seen here today?
Wow, this is a really, really good soccer match, obviously, as everyone can see. But in a high-powered match, you have, number 2 and number 8, and they have 13 wins between them. Nobody's lost, and this is a great match to watch.
Well, I look up here at this press box. I see soccer teams galore, championships, winning seasons. See that football field over there, got softball field behind me or somewhere around here, and then one over my shoulder. Got quite a scene here of all these athletic fields. Talk a little bit about Ohio Northern Athletics as not just soccer, but overall, because there's that big banner right there, that runner-up thing. You know, you'd like to have won, but still got some exposure for the school. Just what does it all mean?
Sure, we're very fortunate here. The university supports our athletic programs very, very well. We have 21 sports, and soon to be 23. We've just decided to add lacrosse, men's and women's, for the 2014 spring season. Over 600 student athletes, and it's just amazing that they perform at a very high level between the lines, and we're as competitive as anybody else, and we want to win as bad as anybody else. But the neat thing is, just year in, year out, what they're doing in the classroom is just off the charts. And it's some pretty aggressive degrees here, with our pharmacy program and the 3 engineering majors, and our sciences are very, very strong, and College of Business and is strong as well. So, we get a really good mix of excellent student and excellent athlete, and the university has expectations of them in the classroom, and the support is there. But then the easiest thing for me as an athletics director, and I'm sure I'm not the first person that's ever said this, but if our athletics can be as accomplished as our academics, then we're doing the right thing.
I was going to lead into that. I look at the roster just on the soccer side of things, and there's letter winners everywhere I look. You see all academic here, all academic there. You mentioned it. What is it that attracts athletes of a high caliber athletic talent, plus the ability at least to do things after college?
Well, they challenge themselves. Any successful athlete has the discipline and the work ethic, and it mirrors over into the classroom. And they're very competitive amongst each other, with their grades and what they want to achieve, and and get a job after the season or after their career is over. But I just think that it's a culture that we're very fortunate to have had created here. And when you walk into a successful department like this, speaking for our coaches and for myself, the people who came before us built a really wonderful thing, and we've got the responsibility to keep it going.
Now to the match, what we got going on here. We got 58 miles separating these two schools. In soccer, a lot of times, inner-city rivalries are called derbies because they're so close together. They spell with an E. I don't know why. It's English. But but anyway, does this have that rivalry feel to it, especially with a school so close to you?
I think so. I'm putting words in Coach Reidenauer's mouth, but I know how he respects the Ohio Wesleyan program, and we certainly do, not only in our department and everything they do down at Ohio Wesleyan, but I know our schools have a great deal of respect for each other. Matter of fact, our president is an Ohio Wesleyan grad. So
little conflict there.
Yeah, but they're friendly rivalries, and going down a few years ago in the NCAA regionals, and we were up at half, and Wesleyan came back and won on to win a national championship. Good for them, and that's a great accomplishment. But they play excellent soccer. And, again, we respect that very much, and we're just trying to take care of our corner of the world too.
Well, Tom, really we've covered it all, really. You got the football team practicing around here. You just got a beautiful campus here, I got to say. Sometimes people look down at Division III. Really, you can't look down here because this is a beautiful little facility here. I mean, just one of the small little details I noticed, and I got to compliment you on this one, and whoever else might want to take credit for it, but those soccer goals, the way they look, that European style, those are the small little details that some might pick up. Even that grandstand on the baseball field, that's unique in itself. You've got a lot of tradition here, and I'll let you get the final word in here.
Well, we've been fortunate. Now, this is one of our last games on this field, actually, because we're moving over on a brand new turf field right parallel to the football field in what will be Kersher Stadium, and our teams will be playing again on the turf, and this has been a great place for us. But I know the coaches feel very strongly. We think our style of play is better on the turf, and we're grateful as a department that the institution and the generosity of some of our donors have allowed us to have something so wonderful, and so we're grateful for that.
One final question I just remembered. That field you're talking about, it's under construction right now. What's the timetable for that? Ready for next season, or can you get it done real soon?
We'll
here?
be playing there this season sometime. It's kind of hard with the last couple of days. We've had some rain that put us back just a little bit, but it'll be early in October. We'll be playing next door.
Hence the road schedule. There we go. Well, Tom, it was a pleasure to talk to you, and who knows what we're going to see in the second half, but we know it's going to be good.
Absolutely. We appreciate you coming to campus. Thank you.
Not a problem at all. Going to be back here on the Tourbeau Sports Group presentation on NSCAA.com. Scoreless between Ohio Wesleyan and Ohio Northern. Also need to remind you that the broadcast of this match presented by Tourbeau Sports Group Productions, Innovative Sports and Development. This game is a part of the 2013 Tourbeau National Game of the Week series presented by NSCAA and Admiral Sports. Also, need to remind you, coming up on Saturday, number 1 Messiah going to host number 10 Montclair State. Going to be another good battle between two teams that are right at the top of Division III. Of course, that's the Continental Tire Division III poll that those rankings are in. That's all here on Tourbeau's National Game of the Week coming up on Saturday. And on Sunday, we got more soccer for you. Got Embry-Riddle going to take on Concordia, California. That's part of Tourbeau's National Game of the Week as well. That's coming up on Sunday at 4. And going up to Division I, Akron, a powerhouse in soccer. Doesn't seem to be fazed by the absence of Caleb Porter at all. They're going to take on the Buckeyes of Ohio State. All of happening right here of Ohio. Little Division I derby, I guess. Columbus and Akron coming together there. So, going to once again take you through the top 10 again here in Division III. As said, Montclair State in New Jersey, just outside of New York City. They are 10th with a 6-0-0 record, equivalent to Ohio Northern in 9th here today. Hope is in 8th with a 4-1-1 record. And Pacific Lutheran comes in 5 wins, no losses, and 1 draw. While Rutgers Camden has 7 wins, no losses, no draws. Stevens Institute of Technology falls back to 5 in the third poll taken during the season with 4 wins, no losses, and a draw, falling from number 3. Moving up, though, was Loris, 1 spot to 4th. 6th, 6 wins, no losses, and 2 draws. Amherst moving up from 9th all the way to 3rd into the top 3 with 4 wins, no losses, no draws. Ohio Wesleyan here today. Going to try to get win number 8. They are come in undefeated with 7 wins and no losses, no draws. Number 1 Messiah, who we will see on Saturday here on Tourbeau Sports. It will be challenging a 6-0-0 record. Well, that also was brought to you by Continental Tire, the sponsor of the poll, the official tire of the NSCAA. Well, we're almost set to get ready here for the second half of what's been a very clean, competitive match. Welcome back, Matt Digby, into here. What are you expecting to see in the second half? Because there's a lot of 50-50. Middle third was the most active spot. Both teams shared equal possession, and the fouls went both ways. Very even as you get a look at the second half stats.
Well, I think both teams are going to be eager to actually take advantage of chances. As we saw Ohio Northern come out easily in the first 20 minutes, but it kind of seemed that they were almost tentative, almost as if they didn't believe they were in the kind of position. But Zach Myers, he's been able to register a shot on goal. That's put Colin B. Miller into pressure. But Ohio Wesleyan, that latter part of the first half, they were able to come back, get shots from Drew Pang, Paolo Bucci, and Mason Hoagie. None of them really threatening Evan Bader, but who knows? It just takes one kick of the ball.
Certainly indeed. I had mentioned it before. It really is going to perhaps be a mistake that results in a goal. Of course, if the score, God forbid, should it remain the same, goalless, we'd have 2 overtimes and we'd have a draw if they should not score there. The goal would be a golden goal. Just that one last step, PK's not going to need them. Those are for playoffs, which is why when you see them, they're so dramatic and so pressure-packed. So, teams will switch sides. Ohio Wesleyan going to be going to the goal to the left in black with a little white trim, white numbers. And for Ohio Northern, they will be headed to the goal to the right with their white kits with orange shorts, white socks. Clock's been reset. A fresh 45 minutes, and it'll be the Polar Bears to start off this second half. And we saw the Polar Bears in the first half maintain possession early, put on the pressures, perhaps using that home site advantage early. But then it seemed that Ohio Wesleyan found their groove. We'll see how things go here. Both teams looking for the goal. Both want to win today. Win would certainly help Ohio Northern in the rankings, as they really just been bounced around the top 10. Now in 9th, 8th and 9th, 2 separate polls. As we talked about at halftime, here's a through ball for Kinkoff. Here's a drive just wide. Oh, needed a little more angle right there, but it was cut down by the goalkeeper. First minute of the second half, first shot. Good chance, best chance really for either side.
Well, that's the advantage that Kinkoff does bring to this Polar Bear attack, I believe, that he and Chuck Imperial operating on that right side of the wing, they're able to get a lot of good communication between the two of them, and that's actually done very well for the Polar Bears so far. Kinkoff leading the team with 4 goals, Imperial leading the team with 5 assists.
Well, that evening sun setting to the west behind us. We face east, which benefits our eyes at least. But it might affect those guys on the far side of the screen when they go up for headers and whatnot. Settled now. Bucci back into the match here, trying to find Rieger. Tries to lay one off back to his striking partner Stegner, but it's going to be Grossnickel, who was also back in. Going to pretty much go back to the starting 11 for the first part of the second half, and for the most part you might see just a quick rest and then guys come back in. Here's Ito right at the kickoff spot. Going to launch one forward for David Janis, his first touch. It's off his toe right in front of his bench. It's given up, and Rieger will receive the throw-in from Jacoby, who receives it right back. Now Shadone, middle of the park, running right at Grossnickel. Played a little too far out in front of his feet, and that allowed Grossnickel to get on the end of that and away. Long ball by the Imperio. It's a lofted lob, and it's right along the touchline. Goes out right as it gets to Kinkoff. Matt Kinkoff leading the Polar Bears in goals with 4 on a 3-game scoring streak. That's in danger here. Zach Myers back in, manning the left flank. Back to Barnes for Ohio Northern and the Polar Bears. Shadone. Stegner, now Rieger, excuse me. Back to goal. Now a little connection there with Ian O'Keefe. Takes it to the byline. Has trouble getting it through the legs of Grossnickel. They still battle for it along the byline, and Grossnickel wins that battle right there. Might be crucial to winning the war. Clears it out. It's still an attacking throw-in for the Bishops, however. Rieger, left-footed cross in, headed up by Stegner, collected by the keeper Bader with his second save of the match. Collects it rather calmly. So the lofted ball up in the air. Playing some ping pong. Now an overlapping run. Barnes not able to curl around his man. Now it's up for the two striking pair, and Rieger could not keep up with it, and an offside flag is up on the near side. Kenkoff a little anxious right there to get things going. So instead it'll be a free kick for Eganhouse to play it up forward and try to start something from a dead spot and right to the run of play. Far side now, Bucci switching sides now with going the opposite way. Couldn't keep the ball in. Two bodies go to ground, but it didn't matter at all because the ball was out. And the throw-in comes in, chested down by Kinkoff. Ito trying to lead a through ball through for Myers. Too much on it, and away by Pang. Long ball miss hit there by Stanton, and he claps his hands in frustration as the ball is now going to be thrown in. Ito throws it in. Now Myers has some space, has room, waiting for support. Imperio coming into the box. There's a, not sure if that was a cross or a shot, but regardless, it's off the head and away. But Ohio Northern still with it early. Again, showing what they did early in the first half, doing it here early in the second half.
Yeah, it looked like Myers may have taken one touch too many on that run, but good positioning by his fellow Polar Bear teammates to keep possession and continue to keep Ohio Wesleyan on its toes here.
Seeing a lot of long touches from guys. You're really the best teams, you see them take one or two touches and then they dump the ball off. Haven't seen that a lot today. Seen it come in spurts as a darting run is made there by Kinkoff. And it was last touched by him, so it'll be a goal kick. He doesn't agree with it, but again, he doesn't have a choice. Referee says goal kick. 52nd minute. Second half from Ada, Ohio. Rob Greisinger, along with Matt Digby. Long ball played up by B. Miller in the air, settled and battled with their Rieger. Couldn't quite get the ball away from Ito. Now a through ball laid forward, trying to find Janus. And B. Miller calls off his defender, comes out and grabs it. And a good job of shielding right there. So another scoring opportunity there is thwarted. Too far off the chest of D'Imperio. Throw in for the Bishops right at the midway stripe. Jacoby will cheat up a little bit before throwing it in. It was a good 5 yards from where the ball was actually supposed to be played in, but there's a little bit of gray area, 10 yards, if some. There's a tackle in there, and D'Imperio sloppily somehow got the ball. Now a bunch of bodies go together, and leaning forward and trying to dart in was Stegner, but he gets called for the foul as he did not play the ball. He tried to check his man right out of the way, hockey style. So we'll be heading the other way, back to the right.
Yeah, that was Shintaro Ito who took the foul right after the Bishop forward had gotten past D'Imperio. He couldn't quite get past Ito without committing the foul.
Things are just starting to pick up physically anyway right now, as that one's blocked, lofted right back towards the center circle, right at the kickoff spot. Eganhouse knocks it down. Shadone mishandled, almost benefited Stegner there as he found an open hole, but it's away, and now here comes Kinkoff. Going to be shielded by Eganhouse, but the keeper, E. Miller, comes out, plays it as he's sandwiched in between his keeper and Eganhouse. Could have been a dangerous play, but can definitely see the physicalness of this picking up. Every little ball now, going to see some pushing and shoving, and that's going to make it even more difficult for the officials to call it.
Well, I think it's what you expect to see. I mean, we've played pretty much an hour at this point. Both teams have definitely gotten to know each other, what their styles are like. Of course, if they haven't already known that, because they've played so often throughout the last few years. But it's just a matter of really who wants to be more physical, who wants to get into that extra gear to get a goal and get out of this with a win.
Well, this fixture, as much as it might be seen as a rivalry at the moment, Wesleyan has dominated, winning at 16 of the 20 that have been played. Only 2 wins for the Polar Bears, 2 draws. It's been quite a back-and-forth battle here. Rieger tries to tee one up. It's off the head and away by a defender. Rebound. Had Bucci going after that one as well as Stegner. It ends up out. Bucci, top of the box, tries to tee one up. Here's a volley and got the shin. And, well, looked more like a field goal than a try at a soccer goal.
Taylor Rieger, I think, obviously had the right idea. Who knows? If he had timed it up with something other than his shin, if he had timed it up with his foot, the result might have been different. But good build-up from Ohio Wesleyan. Haven't seen too much from them so far this second half. But now Ohio Northern will get possession back with this goal kick. Can they finally get a breakthrough?
.50 ball in the middle of the park. Another body goes down. Kinkoff again trying to get on a run. But again, B. Miller on his horse alertly, keeping an eye on Kinkoff, who's moved up to play in the striking role. Jeremy Barnes has gone back to the middle. Started off exactly opposite. Mason Hoagie. Check that. Ian O'Keefe. Another tough decision for the referee's assistant far side. Gonna have a throw in for the Polar Bears. Throw in comes in and another 50-50. However, it comes down right at the feet of Shadone. Here comes a through ball. Shadone 1v1. He's taken down and penalty. Going to be the call. Taken down in the box. Be curious to see if there is a card here. There was an elbow lead right there, and it's going to be a PK for the Bishops.
And it looks like Jacob Eganhouse is going to step forward to take it. But, I mean, Ohio Northern can't really complain. You always regret making that kind of contact, especially so close to the box. If you're already inside the penalty box, the referee will have no choice.
Well, there's no guarantee that it'll be made. The clock has been stopped. 57th minute here. Only the first real opportunity at goal is, at least for Wesleyan, is one of an illegal play. Eganhouse takes a strange path, lofts one, and he missed it wide to the far post. We're still scoreless. You just had a feeling that was going to happen, Matt.
Well, that was, I think, completely the exact opposite of what Jay Martin wanted. I mean, Eganhouse is looking away from the ball. If you see the replay, he's looking at the referee. And then once Mike Sikolik finally blows the whistle, Eganhouse then finally trots up to the ball and then just lifts it. He leans back. Every time you do that, the ball is going to go over or off target. And really, that's a poor penalty. That is just poor is the most accurate word I can describe that penalty from Jacob Eganhouse.
Well, he was looking like he was looking back up towards the stands, and then all of a sudden turned around and took a sort of a J-turn, made a hooking path to that ball, and I don't understand even why you'd put a defender in there. A center half taking a penalty during the run of play. I don't understand that. Why would you put him in there when you can put in a guy who is known to score, like a striker, one of the two? Rieger or Stegner, that's what I would have chosen, but I'm not sure the thinking there by Jay Martin, but we play on scoreless.
Well, I'm not too baffled about the fact that it was Eganhouse, the center half, taking it. I mean, if he's the most calm player under pressure, if he's the one who's able to stick those in practice, I mean, why not let him in? I mean, if this was a match that would go to penalty kicks, I mean, I could definitely understand him taking it. But the way he was just looking away from the ball until the very last second.
Spucci coming in for Colton Bloker, and he squandered it as was a poor cross, but just as you'd want your defenders to be rather safe than sorry, it's fied out over the byline corner kick for the Bishops. Shadone, the left-footed man, going to try to play this one, and he's got a man short. Brian Schaefer, the one. But Kinkoff has come in and played up close, so trying to cut down that angle. Also got Zach Myers in there as well. Here comes the ball. Here's wafted up off the net. I think it got the bar. Oh, man, Colton Bloker got his head on that. Leads the team in goals and assists. And he just didn't connect right there. Just couldn't keep that ball down.
And that was right off the corner. Ohio Wesleyan had an opportunity like that earlier back in the first half when one of their players in the box tried to almost get a bicycle kick, but simply just shot it up straight over the bar. This one obviously a little bit more accurate.
Well, action has definitely picked up here in Ohio. Now with the run of play, Lorenzo with it. Dumps it off for Myers. Far side's going to have to go 1v1 with Hoagie. And it's knocked out. And it's off of Myers. So it'll be a Wesleyan throw, flicked on. There by Schaefer, looking for the league, or the team leader in goals, Colton Bloker. Saw his brother Gunnar in there as well, who's still on the bench. Does have his training vest off, though. Should be seeing him. Zach Myers appears to be shaken up. He's down. However, Ohio Northern still going at the run of play. Normally you'd see teams kick that out. But Myers appears to be shaking that one off, and he's still jogging, so he plays on as we've just about reached the hour mark here in Ada, Ohio. Colton Bloker trying to lead Schaefer, but again, calm defending by Aaron Smith and Mike Grossnickel, allowing their keeper to come out and collect. Here in a goalless draw on a thwarted or a squandered penalty kick by Eganhouse. A center half is the team captain, so he is the leader. Does hold some responsibility. Here's Colton Bloker again, and through ball attempt there for the runner. Stanton not good. Shadone tried to twist one inside, try to get past Davis, who's just a handful, a center half that you don't want to deal with as a forward. Now we're going to see some changes made. Going to see some more of the Polar Bears come on, have a rest. Zach Myers takes a rest. Prescott back in, as well as Austin Horton. Header up there by Tobias, and appeared to be a little shove off there from Brian Schaefer against Lorenzo, but goes unnoticed. So throw-in right in front of their own bench. However, it's not being used by Wesleyan. However, the Polar Bears, pretty comfortable here at home. Inside ball from Jacoby. Trying to find Ian O'Keefe. And it's away by Smith. Careful ball, almost misplayed. Oh, that could have been a disaster right there, but right on top of it was B. Miller as it was behind him. He used his long reach.
And that was Eganhouse who headed it back to B. Miller. Eganhouse has really got to keep his composure here because first the missed penalty, now almost creating a blunder where you almost give a gift of an opportunity to Ohio Northern. Fortunately for the Bishops, it doesn't cost them, at least now for the time being.
Well, Keegan Ross just got an elbow in the back from Jacoby, so that'll be another free kick for the Polar Bears of Ohio Northern as Gunnar Bloker tries to come in, but he can't come in on a free kick. Long ball in and finds nothing but a black shirt. Hardly any white in there to knock it down. 1v1 there. Here's Kinkoff, tries a shot. He squandered it. That one was off the side of his foot. Didn't get the angle, and everybody bunches up, and we'll see who comes away with it. For now, it'll be Fleming tackling the ball away from Schaefer. Tumbling there, Austin Horton going face first into the deck. Now coming along with space. Here comes Vergara, and that is got to be a yellow card at minimum, and that is the first foul in a dangerous position, and there comes the yellow card out of the pocket of referee Mike Sikolik.
And Mason Hoagie, that's clearly a reckless challenge. You definitely want to give the attacker the advantage. Kinkoff had a good run, and now this creates a very dangerous opportunity for Chuck D'Imperio.
63rd minute, clock stopped. Now it'll just be a matter of who's going to take it and who's going to take the brunt of it along the wall. 10 yards. Given to the kicker, about 25 yards. It goes in low. Bouncer right at the goalkeeper. Tried a little trickery right there. Nothing, not going for goal. It's very hard to bend the ball. Got to have the right touch, finesse and power, but none of that right there. It was more of an intended pass and climbing all over Ito with Schaefer inside the center circle in the defensive half for the Polar Bears. Waiting for it to be taken, and it's a low line drive. Rated Hoagie. And doesn't go anywhere but out. And it'll be a throw for the Polar Bears inside. Might have gone off an arm there, but comes down at the feet of the Bishops, and now Colton Boker and Aaron Smith going at it, and as a precaution, ooh, and that was almost a perfect little clearance there by Bader. Almost had it into the bed of a pickup for the maintenance crew of the cell tower, and that is right here on the campus of Ohio Northern U.
A duo of substitutions for the battling Bishops of Ohio Wesleyan. Evan Lee and Gunnar Bloker are now back in the game. Ian O'Keefe was one of the players to make way.
Battling along the corner there. Schaefer in there has been very active, been box to box all half. Tries a left-footed cross in there, headed away by Smith, and it's off the side of his head to his left, into touch throw for the Bishops. Hoagie throws in. Colton Bloker lofts one in there. He's got his brother in there. Gunnar couldn't get a head on it. And it's away by Austin Horton, and the pass attempt comes there. He had Tobias tumbling. He's got space, has a man trying to get a runner, and tried to lay it off to his right to Prescott. But it was right into a defender. Still with it, Fleming making a run. Has space, curls one in off the volleying foot there of Drew Pang. Substitutions being made. A couple 24 is going to make their way in. Lonnie Barnes for Ohio Wesleyan and David Janis back into the match for Ohio Northern. Kinkoff going to get that one little rest, perhaps bring him on in the last 15 minutes or so. Give him that short break. Another change also for the Bishops. John Stenger coming back in. He'll let Martin Tobias get a rest. Thrown in, battled along the corner, and who does the throw belong to? Referee says the Polar Bears. It's an attacking throw and almost as effective as a corner if you perform a foot. Prescott held on to it a little too long. Here comes a lofted ball. Nobody in the box, though, for the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Both teams in the top 10. With a loss, Ohio Northern might be on their way out of the top 10, having been bounced around all year. here in the first month of the season anyway. 67th minute. Throw in near side. D'Imperio going to take it, going to cheat up field a little bit before bringing it in. Knocked into touch. And there'll be more changes. I'd like to take this time to remind you to register for the 2014 NSCAA convention. Registration is open. Be sure to join 10,000 of your coaching peers for soccer's biggest party this January 15th through 19th in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. We guarantee that you will learn something new from the world's best clinicians and gain new connections by attending one of the many networking socials. You can even get your coaching diplomas during the week. Visit nscaa.com/convention for all event details. Going to be a free kick, on the near side. Close to goal this time for Wesleyan, going to be a long ball. Jacoby trying to find a head of one of his tall men. Lonnie Barnes standing in at 6 foot. Even. Not quite the tallest player on the pitch, but tall enough to get above one of those 5'9", 5'10" guys. Of course, you'd want your goalkeeper to be the tallest, but you could just ask Peter Crouch that for Stoke City. What is he, 6'6" or 6'7", Matt? Do you know?
I'd say either one of those.
Either way, he's a center forward.
And he's an international goal scorer for his country to boot.
And for England. Throw in for the Bishops. Colton Bloker tries a ankle pass that ends up in the air. Over to the far side for Stenger. Inside for Colton Bloker. In the box, broken up by Grossnickel. Bloker still getting on the end of that, and Grossnickel picks up the loose ball and just dumps it out. And it'll be a throw for Wesleyan as we are closing in on the final 20 minutes of the match. Still no goals, a penalty completely misplayed by Jacob Eganhouse. Now here comes the counter from the Polar Bears. Prescott running at goal, and he's taken down, no call. Still has it in the box, trying to play it inside for Janis. He mishandled it. Now Horton picks up a loose ball. The clearing attempt not any good. Gunnar Bloker in there. Now Prescott lays it off. Now he'll just dump it back, try to restart the attack. D'Imperio inside now. Prescott mishandles that one off his feet. Throw in, and we'll head the other way as Wesleyan again holds their ground in front of their box.
Well, that was a good no call by the ref. I mean, Prescott clearly able to keep possession of the ball even after that contact with Barnes. But it's a shame for him. I'm sure he'll feel that way, that they weren't able to capitalize or even make a more serious chance out of it.
Well, here's an interesting change. Aaron Smith is going to sit. One of the reliable freshman defenders standing in at 6'1". Ito also coming out. And perhaps that rest. We've got 2 balls on the field. One rolled back as the Polar Bears anxiously trying to get in here. Trying to catch the Bishops off guard. Here's a deflection off of Gunnar Bloker. Crossing attempt in there is right at the near post. Goalkeeper off his line comes in there, and B. Miller collects. He'll try to restart something. Punts from the air all the way past the center circle into his attacking half. Stegner, who's been all over the place, now taking more of a winger role. Lofts it up high. And it comes down to the feet of Janis. Now he's going to play it for Keegan and Ross. Ross along the touchline, turns, has his back to goal, now turns back up south for the goal to our right, and he ends up getting it deflected away from him. It'll be a corner on the far side for Ohio Northern.
Yeah, smart idea by, I believe it was Alex Stanton, able to get that final touch, and that's why he's a senior homegrown from Delaware, so not too far from the university. Actually, excuse me, it's not Stanton. Stanton's about to come in. But another smart play by a Bishop defender.
Well, be taken by Dustin Lorenzo off his right foot. It's a high lofter starting to dip, and it's off the head of Drew Pang. But Ross has something to say about that. Dumps it back off for D'Imperio, and he loses possession of it, and it's away by the Bishops. Mueller getting back into the attack. Here's at the penalty arc. Couldn't settle it off his feet. Prescott. Now Horton steps over it. Going 1v1 with Gunnar Blocher. Now lays it off. Top of the box for Russ. Back to goal. Here's Perkins. Loose ball in the box. Loose ball rebound. Score! Austin Horton gets tackled and mauled by his teammates. A loose ball. There's the mistake. And it's 1-0 ONU.
And we've been talking about this all game long, Rob. Ohio Northern simply has just come out the hungrier of the two teams. We saw it at the beginning of this game. We saw it at the beginning of the second half. And now another critical mistake by the Ohio Wesleyan defense. Not sure who that was specifically, but what a great opportunity for Austin Horton. And boy, does he not make a mess of it.
Well, Kokomo is the code word for jackpot, I guess, here for the Polar Bears as they take a 1-0 lead. Now we'll see some urgency from the Bishops as a change is made. Chad Smith back into the match. And he'll take the spot of Chuck D'Imperio. So you take the junior out for a sophomore. However, Chad Smith has played in all 6, making just 1 start in those, but coming as a fullback. Just waiting for the restart of the game here.
Ito is also back in the game for the Polar Bears.
73rd minute from Ada, Ohio. Little derby here in Division III. Friendly rivalry, as you heard Athletic Director Tom Simmons say, as his team hosts its greatest rival, trying to just get their 3rd win against this Bishop side. Another through ball attempt there, trying to spring Prescott on a run down the near flank. It ends up off the boot of Blocher, and that'll.
And if there is a silver lining for Ohio Wesleyan, they were in this exact same situation back on Saturday when they faced Berry. They gave up an early goal, but the only difference between that and today's game is that they had already tied it up by this point. Now they trail with just over a quarter of an hour to go, so it's going to be very interesting to see how their confidence affects them.
Smith with a back pass to Bader, who winds a low one all the way to the halfway line. It's knocked down by one of the big men, Lonnie Barnes. Now a long ball through loose. Evan Lee trying to go after it, but it's Mueller who converges on it, and Fleming there to help out to get that ball out. So Austin Horton getting his first goal of the campaign. And it puts his team up in a big spot, but they're not out of dodge just yet. Here's Stenger trying to get in there. He got tripped up, no call. Another loose ball. Tripping over himself is Shadone. So Polar Bears holding fort right now, but they're not out of danger just yet. Twisting ball in there, cleared away off the boot of Ito. Try to flick on for Colton Blocher, and that one is deflected wide, far post, over the byline, goal kick. Well, quarter of an hour left.
We haven't mentioned this in a while, but we bring it up again. The missed penalty by Jacob Eganhouse, which frankly was a very poor penalty. We wondered if he might rue it, and now he most certainly is with 15 minutes to go.
Rue the day. Colton Blocher goes up for a header, had his arm way out there. So he gets away with one there, but it doesn't really benefit his team that much. Prescott back inside, a chance. Off the post, punched away by Bader. Check that B. Miller, but whatever the goalkeeper's name, good grief. Saved his team from going down 2-0 right there. Janice going 1v2 with 2 defenders. And Shadone clears it away. A whistle here for a foul. Late whistle. Ball was in midair. It winds up at the north end and needs to go back to the south end.
Yeah, I believe that was B. Miller who punched the ball and it ricocheted off his hands, then off the bar, but then it bounced and it took a clearance from Drew Pang, the Bishop defender, to really get the ball out of trouble, and he's very lucky that only he was in the immediate area and not a polar bear.
You know, Keefe waiting to come on at the touchline, though. Has to wait, though, for play to start. And there's a cross looping ball from Bloker over to Stenger away. Now a long ball through, headed on, oh, what a goal by Colton Bloker. He levels it at 1. How did he find the end of that? It went over a couple players. No goal?
No, it is a goal, but...
Oh, I thought you said no goal right there. Okay.
Well, the clock stopped at 13:46. That's what I was trying to mention. But what a brilliant pass. I mean, and Bloker able to use his height to his advantage, get past the polar bear defenders, and it looks like Egan House, for the moment at least, has atoned for that penalty miss.
Well, shows why. It's good to have that little extra inches. Gets it right off the forehead, into the near corner, off the near post, and we're back where we started. And again, with that penalty, could be a 2-1 lead here for the Bishops, but should they win the game, that's a moot point. It is not over yet by any means. Bader comes out right there, tried to punch that one away, but he missed, and that's why the goal was scored. Now it's a low line drive. That one is a hard, takes a fortunate bounce as jumping at it was Stankner, and he doesn't quite know what to do after that one bounced over his head. You don't see that too often where you jump and it still goes over your head after it bounces off the ground. Going to try to go for the go-ahead goal, and it's launched forward, but Shadone is beaten to the ball by Bader. Faked the roll. Started to lose control of it and was somehow able to maintain control of it. Horton, the goal scorer for the Polar Bears on the end of that one, but nobody making a run as well. Off the end of the boot of Drew Pang before getting passed around, and now, you know, Keefe in the middle of the park. And his pass is to nobody. A little miscommunication, thought his man was in a spot that he wasn't. Stanger the target. Now a long ball through, 1v1 now. Here comes Evan Lee, and falling to the deck there was the defender Chase Mueller. Both it's going in there, and there's a miss hit. Could be costly. Here's Shadone. Now Bloker, the goal scorer, he'll have an optimistic try, and, well, he'd like to have that one back, I'll tell you what. He missed by a good 15 yards right there.
Well, I wouldn't blame him for taking the effort. I mean, riding sky high after scoring your 5th goal of the season to continue leading the team. I mean.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You scared me there when I thought you were trying to tell me it wasn't a goal. I'll tell you that. Ooh, there's a knock on the head, and why the play wasn't stopped right there for a knock in the head, I don't know, but Horton got back up, so clock continues to run, so appears that was just kicked out, and the gentleman's agreement there to kick it out, and then you'll just kick it back to the goalkeeper, and there it goes.
Yeah, that was Stephen Perkins who took the blow to the head.
So B. Miller will pick it up, punt it up high as we restart now with just over 10 to go. Far side, Grossnickel up high. It's off a Hoagie, and be a throw far side for the Polar Bears as they try to get the goal back that they gave up. Got lucky, though, on a missed penalty, and again, should this Should this next 10 minutes go without a goal, we will play 2 overtimes. Golden goal win it. If nobody scores, it's a draw. And really, deservedly so, for both sides anyway. Bloker lays one off for Stegner. Back inside the box, tries one with his left foot, and he bounced it. Little hopper there doesn't do much. So now, that all-important big center half coming back in for the Polar Bears, Aaron Smith, will replace Grossnickel. Although you take one of your better center halves and replace them with another center half, put those guys together, you might have a fourth that's pretty darn strong, but that's not taking away the credit from Chase Mueller, who's still out there, has been very rugged today. Low line drive, poor goal kick really by Bader, he'll tell you that. Bounced around before going out in front of the Polar Bear bench.
Well, Grossnickel has played a lot this half. If we do end up going to overtime, he does deserve a rest.
Chested down, but not enough. There by Rieger. Now he's all over the back of Perkins. Tried a long ball there for Janis, and that one is out. Cleared away by Pang. Now all the way forward. Comes Janis with a left foot, and it got deflected just enough to quell the pace on it. And it's collected by B. Miller.
Yeah, good awareness by B. Miller to come out and claim it for himself.
So through ball misses everybody. Here's Evan Lee with a go, and it's off the glove of Bader. Good save. Well, chances sure have picked up as of late as we got more substitutions. Let's see Bucci come back in as well as Brian Schaefer, that very creative midfielder, but they'll have to wait as the corner kick for the Bishops is going to come in. Again, it's going to have 2 defenders come short. As Shadon's going to try to lift one. It's high in the air, comes down off the foot of Blucher. Long ball played in from a defender, still up in the air, headed down and away. Kinkoff back in the match. He slips as that one goes into touch. As the pace is picked up, changes will be made. Registration for the 2014 NSCAA convention is now open. Join 10,000 of your coaching peers for soccer's biggest party this January 15th and 19th in Philadelphia. Also, youth clubs and players who want to be noticed by top college programs in the NSCAA can help through its partnership with elite tournaments. The NSCAA College Showcase connects you with college coaches so you can show off your talents. Clubs, players, and college coaches can find more information at nscaa.com/events. 7 minutes from time, but we may need extra time to decide this one. Odd little collision right there. Bucci goes hip to hip as that one is an advantage call. Fleming. Now Smith, excuse me. And Kinkoff. Well, got the ball right there. The nice challenge. Nicely timed, but Aaron Smith right there, but it comes to the feet of Bucci. And a dart inside as he's done all day when he's been out there. 1-2 there is thwarted. Well, really a poor quality pass, but Bucci on the end of that one, he'll try a long ball. Was that a shot, Matt, or was that a cross? Hard to tell.
I'd say that's a cross.
Well, it was low in the line. It was probably hoping for a volley. Regardless, it's punted up by the goalkeeper who made the save. Bader, who has been a hero thus far. And now Jacoby looks like he wants to come back in the match, tying his boots. As that last bit of energy is going to be the key right here. Match fitness always a key. This clock is stopped for an injury. Looks like Hoagie's limping a little bit. He'll come off, and Jacoby will replace him.
And that was going to be a smart play anyway. Even if Hoagie wasn't injured, he is already on a yellow card from earlier in this match.
1-2 lofted up, no direction on it. It's along the touchline, out for a throw for the Bishops. Look to remain in number 2, hoping Messiah could drop a game or two, and Bishops might jump up to number 1, but Polar Bears have something to say about that. They don't want that to happen. They want to move up in the standings themselves, 9th in the Continental Tire NSCAA poll, 8th in the D3Soccer.com poll. Now a long ball from Buki to Evan Lee in his path, and Mueller deals with him well, shields him from the ball, allowing his keeper to come out, and Bader will punt it up sky high, lands at the halfway line near side of the center circle. Punched up ahead, but well, Brian Schaefer unable to get on the end of that. It comes to Aaron Smith. Loose ball now. Schaefer overruns it, and he slips, almost does a split in the act. Lofted ball for Kinkoff, gets a head touch on it in front of the box at the edge, takes it to the byline, tackled, away. Not quite, though. Jinghouse tries to get it in, held up there. Was Barnes, couldn't get there, but it allowed either way. B. Miller had enough time to come out, call off his man, and smother it on the ground. He'll punt it high, very far, trying to find Evan Lee. He's going to have to deal with Aaron Smith, however. And I don't know what the heck Fleming was thinking there, leading in with his body. Wasn't even looking at the ball. Easy call for the referee. Here in the final 4 minutes, dangerous free kick, about 22 yards from the goal, just outside the box. Critical free kick here in the final 4 minutes of regulation. Shadone has a goal already this year, along with Buki. Both of them stand over it. And the left-footed Shadone looks like he wants to have a go with it, and he does, and it's right at the keeper, and it's smothered. Dropped a little bit there, but Bader able to hang on to it. Small rebound, not quite big enough. It's going to be that last final push to win the game in regulation. After that, it would be golden goal for 2 10-minute extra time periods. Center circle, Ian O'Keefe for the Bishops. Surveys the pitch, decides to go forward for Schaefer. Doesn't have a whole lot of room to deal with, and it's tackled away from him by Mueller. However, Colton Blocher, the goal scorer for the Bishops, tries a through ball for Shadone. And no way, says the Bishops. Here comes Kinkoff on a run. He's going to have Egenhaus, who gets to the ball first, and a brilliant toe poke out into touch. Kinkoff can't get there, but he quickly takes the throw in. Barnes laid off. Kinkoff 1v1 with Stanton. Left-footed inside the penalty arc, trying to backheel through ball for Zach Myers. But he didn't make the run. 2.5 minutes and change left. Long ball up as expected. Evan Lee toes it down. Schaefer on the end of it had to track back a little bit. Waits for help to arrive. Bucci in the middle of the park has it. Gives it back to Schaefer. He had Blocher on his opposite side to his left, but he didn't take it. Now Schaefer goes 1v1 with Ito. Here's a ball inside the box. Left for Lee. And inside! Off the boot! Who do you know it? Colton Blocher! 2.25 left on the clock. 2 goals for Blocher. 2 goals for the Bishops. And the Polar Bears are stunned.
Well, we talked at the beginning of the game that Ohio Northern might have had the advantage on the right flank, but both of Ohio Wesleyan's goals, 11 minutes from that right flank that we thought Ohio Northern had the advantage on. Brilliant cross. Blocher already beat Bader once with the head. Now he beats him with the foot. Nothing Bader could have done.
Well, the Polar Bears find themselves in quite a pickle. 2:15 left. Trailing by a goal. They had taken the lead late on an Austin Horton goal, but now 2 unanswered goals scored by the Bishops in this 21st time these teams have faced off, and it appears that As that one shielded. What do we got here? This is going to have to be a quick decision from the referee. Goal kick, and Polar Bears are going to have to hurry as we're under 2 minutes now. Bader gets a lot underneath it, and it's still short. And there's a push-off. I think that was more of a gamesmanship kind of flop there by Bloker, but he'll take it either way. And the clock continues to wind as Bishop says, he'll place the ball just the way they want. Oh, there's a blade of grass in the way. Take that extra look down the flanks. Long ball from Stanton all the way for Bucci. He'll take it to the corner, try to waste as much time as he can, and he wins a corner. Well, it looks like time may just run out on the Polar Bears, who are undoubtedly stunned.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of ill feelings between Paolo Bucci and Matt Fleming as the Bishops want to waste as much time as they can as we're now under a minute, and the Polar Bears saying, hey, nuh-uh.
Well, the clock's been stopped with 58 seconds as the substitution no doubtably would come just to waste time, and referee well aware of that. Stops the clock. I think this is an example of where the argument of adding the count-up stoppage time rule would be beneficial to college soccer, but again, there's also the benefit of the stop clock, so either way, we'll be playing their entire. There's a long header for Colton Bloker, but he got too much cranium on it, and he will sprint up the pitch as that last ditch effort from the Polar Bears is going to have to come. So the back four is going to have to come up forward. It's a long ball, and it's headed up there in the air as it was a poor ball from Chuck D'Imperio, as that one is bouncing around the bench, beneficially quickly thrown, though. It was barely in his hand for a split second there as D'Imperio threw it in. Now it's Aaron Smith. He'll loft one into the box. See what happens here as that one is headed away by Jacoby in the final 15. One last chance as the throw-in is going to be, that was a little tussle for the ball in the touchline as the Polar Bears thought it was theirs. However, it belonged to the Bishops, and that will be it. The clock expires, and Ohio Wesleyan again, and I say again because this has happened before, trailing late against the Polar Bears. Wesleyan comes back, scores enough goals to win the game.
Happened in the 2011 Division III National Tournament. Happened to the Bishops just this past weekend when they went behind early to Barry and came back to win 2-1. And just like back then, they come back today. 2 goals from Colton Bloker. He has been magnificent. One with a beautiful header, one with the foot right at the death, and a huge, huge win on the road for the Battling Bishops and head coach Jay Martin.
Well, I'm not exactly sure who did it, but it was inside the box, the top of the sixth. The ball was left for Colton Bloker, who was calling for it, and he made the play and put that into the back corner in the near side. So that's the difference right now. And, well, I'd like to also remind you once again that registration for the 2014 NSCAA convention is now open. Join 10,000 of your coaching peers for soccer's biggest party this January 15th through the 19th in Philadelphia. We guarantee that you will learn something new from the world's best clinicians and gain connections by attending one of the many social networking parties. And you can also get your coaching diplomas during the week. Visit nscaa.com/convention for all event details. Well, we will recap in a little bit. Final score, Wesleyan 2, Ohio Northern 1.